Welcome, everyone, to episode 6 of the It's a Work podcast. You're here with Tristin Hayes and Ian Matthews.
Yo.
We're going to start it off tonight by telling you about the Standard Bank Stadium Baseball Park Pro Wrestling Blitz shows, which are August 3rd with Al Snow, August 17th with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and these are both weather permitting. Steamboat and Al Snow will both be not only guests on our podcast on those different evenings, but they'll also be doing autograph sessions and meet and greets with all the fans during the game, and immediately after the game there will be a 1-hour pro wrestling show. Also, Pro Wrestling Blitz has coming up WrestleFest 8. That's Saturday, August 12th. Doors open at 4 p.m., bell time 6 p.m. It's at the Edwards Event Center at 55 Phelps Road, Romeoville, Illinois. Go to www.pwblitz.com. That's www.pwblitz.com for tickets and more info. Ian, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. You ran through that pretty fast. I am excited to have Al Snow coming up and, WrestleFest. So I look forward to talking to Al Snow about his new business, Collar and Elbow, and there's been some shit talkers online. And, we were jumping in today with our promo code, right? You can get a discount, Collar and Elbow. Use the promo code Heat Machine, and you get 10% off.
And that's www.collarandelbowbrand, it's all one word, .com. Also, they've got coming up the awesome band called Bumsy and the Moochers, who does our intro and outro music for us. They got some shows coming up. Not only do they have shows August 9th at the Run and Punch, or with Run and Punch Braceface, and that's Wednesday night, August 9th at Quencher's Saloon in Chicago. And they also got coming up Punk the Burbs Fest, September 23rd. That's at 12 p.m. at the Cairo Ale House. We'll tell you more about that later on as it gets closer to that. But up on this episode, we're going to be talking about Raw, SmackDown, the Battleground pay-per-view, and a variety of other topics. So, Ian, why don't we get to the podcast?
Nice, man. Let's talk about Battleground. This pay-per-view got a bunch of bad reviews, and some people are calling it the worst pay-per-view so far this year. I would agree. I thought it was bad, and I thought there were some interesting moments. I want to talk specifically about AJ and KO and their match, but what did you think about Battleground overall?
Here was my thing. One, I was excited going into it because I love everything that's going on with the New Day and the Usos. I'm real big on tag team wrestling. It's something that's kind of grown for me over the last 5-6 years. So these being two of my favorite teams that are out there right now, I'm actually really happy to watch them. So I love the opening match of Battleground, but I'm kind of agreeing with you, man. Even though I'm the eternal optimist, as you say, it started going really downhill from there, especially the finish for the U.S. title match. I'm still a little like, what? On that one,
Yeah, so, I agree with you. I thought the Usos New Day match was the best match. I don't know. I'm glad to see the Usos get the title back, but the New Day get the title back, but I'm surprised that they took it from the Usos. If you would have asked me, I would have had the Usos pegged to win that match. And Big E wasn't in it. It's odd to see Xavier and Kofi on a pay-per-view, so I loved the change there.
It was funny because it was odd for me to sit there and watch it and enjoy it and not care about who wins because the back and forth between them is so good.
Yeah, but the rest of it, just bad. I was super surprised. We don't typically talk about the pre-show match, but I was super surprised that Aiden English got over on Ty Dillinger, and then he got over on Mike Kanellis this Tuesday. So,
but see, that's the thing. Aiden English is getting kind of over. Now, here's the question. Some people are going to be like, oh, he's only going to get a push because he's married to Eddie Guerrero's daughter. I don't think that's true. Hopefully that's not the stigma he gets stuck with, because I actually think he's got a unique gimmick. They threw him back to his old gimmick from NXT, which you had pointed out and showed to me for the first time, surprisingly. And I like it. It works.
Yeah, I didn't even know he was married to Guerrero's daughter, so that's cool. I mean, I liked his gimmick in NXT. I like it now, but, I'm surprised you take... I just don't understand what they're going to do with Ty Dillinger, and I'm surprised you take the wind out of Mike Kanellis' sails like that.
I've said from the start
with the loss.
I've said from the start with Ty Dillinger that I like him, and I think he's got a lot of talent and potential, but I don't think that talent or potential extends past an IC title or US title run at most.
For sure. All right, so let's talk about... Do you want to talk about the Nakamura-Baron Corbin match, or should we talk about the KO?
Let's start with Nakamura and Baron Corbin, because here again, it's two guys that I like. One, I'm a huge Shinsuke Nakamura fan. I think he's one of the best wrestlers in the world currently. Baron Corbin, I'm one of the few people that, besides his horribly balding head, I like everything about him. Like, I like his look, I like his attitude, I like his entrance, I like everything. I just like the guy. I don't know why. There's just something about him that when he comes out, I'm like, yeah, somebody's gonna get fucked up.
No, I'm glad this is over. I didn't like the two of them together. I didn't think they had great chemistry, and I thought the blow-off match was Tuesday, right? And it was a better... Obviously, Nakamura got the clean finish. But yeah, I'm glad to see this over, because I didn't enjoy the two of them together. And that goes to me just not liking what Shinsuke is doing right now. Potentially, he beats John Cena next Tuesday on SmackDown Live. And now he's, right in the title scene. I think he beats Jinder in that case at SummerSlam. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to be Cena going over, breaking Ric Flair's record, and maybe even Baron Corbin getting involved and cashing in that night. But yeah, I'm just not happy with what they're doing with Shinsuke now.
Now, when you say you don't like what Shinsuke's doing right now, you mean you don't like what the product or WWE itself is doing with him, not his in-ring performance as a whole.
I don't know. I think it's a little bit of both. It's obviously bad booking, lack of storyline. He's an artist, instead of the King of Strong style. But I feel like they've really maybe neutered him in a way, because he just it doesn't look as crisp as it did. It doesn't look as stiff as it did in NXT or in New Japan, and I don't know why that is.
That could be WWE holding them back, because they have a history of holding guys back who could be more than they actually are. That could be Nakamura trying to hide the fact that he has some kind of nagging injury he doesn't want to leave for yet. Who knows?
All right, so let's talk about AJ and Kevin Owens. What did you think about the finish here, and what have you kind of heard from a rumor mill perspective?
Rumor mill, I heard that the finish was changed last minute. I'm not exactly positive why, but when I was watching it was really awkward. It came kind of out of nowhere and sudden. I believe Styles... How did they do it again? Remind me, because I'm trying to remember.
So they're the ref bump, yeah. Right? Some of the worst ref selling, eye blinking, and then there were a couple submission reversals, and then it just looked like Kevin Owens rolled him up, and AJ, sat there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, I remember the position they were in.
To whatever.
I remember the position they were in, and I remember it looking kind of like, oh, well, he's definitely going to kick out. Nope, he didn't. Never mind. So
I heard two things. I heard one, that the finish was actually changed during the middle of the match. And because of that, and I think it was David Meltzer and Brian Alvarez that were talking about this. I might be wrong. But because of that, the ref didn't know what the finish was. But I also heard Wade Keller from PW Torch say that it was a complete botch and there was chaos, after the match. And with that, and AJ winning the title back the very next, show on Tuesday, I tend to agree with Wade that I think it was just a botch. And I wonder if they even brought Jericho back so quickly and unexpectedly to just, help kind of take your eyes off the situation a little bit, right? A little distraction.
Here's a little something for you to question and think about. Do you remember a few months ago when it was Dolph Ziggler versus Styles, and Ziggler surprisingly went over clean on him when it looked like AJ was supposed to get his feet on the ropes?
Yeah, he was trying to get his foot on the rope, it looks like.
So there's two finishes that were, behind the scenes called basically a botch and a blown finish. Is it a thing with Styles? Is it a coincidence? What's going on?
Dude, do you think that they changed finishes in the middle of matches? That just sounds like a poorly thought out plan.
To be honest, you know what? It's WWE. It's territory I haven't been in. I know I've got some friends there that I could talk to and ask questions like that, and we have some veterans that we could talk to coming up soon and ask them those questions itself. Maybe maybe they do stuff like that in WWE or TNA or GFW as it's called now. But me personally, I wouldn't be fully surprised, honestly, if they change stuff on the fly. They're always in the referee's ears. They're always in the commentator's ears. I guess maybe that's something that the guys in the ring have to be ready for.
Yeah, I'm not really sure right now. I'd like to see either Nakamura face AJ Styles or face Jinder Mahal and start having a run at one of the titles. And I think that Nakamura and Styles would be great. It'd be a great SummerSlam match. But do you think they carry the KO and Jericho? I mean, do you think we get a triple threat match at SummerSlam?
I think it's a possibility, just because of the fact that there's no reason for Jericho not to be involved, especially when it comes with Kevin Owens and the U.S. title right now.
God, isn't that so lame? Hasn't there been, especially I feel like with the women's division, but there's been so many mashups, and then you had a 4-way for the Universal title on Raw, and then now you're gonna have a 3-way for the United States Championship on SmackDown.
Well, here's the thing: SummerSlam is the summer version of WrestleMania, for lack of a better term. And at Mania, what do we see? We see them trying to jam as many guys onto the card quite often as they possibly can. SummerSlam, with it being 2 separate brands sharing one show, unfortunately, that's what you're going to get again. You're going to get a 4-hour pay-per-view where they try to jam as many people onto the card as possible.
Yeah, I'm not impressed with the product lately, man. And I was telling you this before we started recording, and I made a conscious decision this week to not watch Raw because I feel like it's just too much content with all the indie stuff going on that I'm trying to watch on top of WWE. And I'm honestly, I'm going to follow it through SummerSlam, but depending on how I feel after SummerSlam, I've canceled cable. I've talked about that, right? So I'm using Hulu, so I'm already getting the condensed hour-and-a-half version of, the shows. But I might cancel that, just watch the wrap-ups on the network and the pay-per-views, and dive in head first with New Japan, get the subscription, and really start watching that as much as I possibly can.
Since you're checking out a whole bunch of indie stuff, you know what you could check out online right now? If you go on the Fight TV app, you could check out episode 10. It's the Blacklist versus the Congregation. There's a little shameless plug for you.
Yeah, man, WrestleFest. People bring your own weapons.
Yeah, we'll talk about that
in a little awesome
bit, but I just wanted to throw in that shameless plug since you were talking about watching a bunch of indie stuff right now. So here's a question for you. The women's match, the 5-way, ended up having Natalya win. There's a lot of people that say that this is kind of a throwaway match, but I look at it as Natalya winning. Her and Naomi will have a pretty good match when they fight for the title, but obviously I see it as a time for Carmella to cash in Money in the Bank.
Man, I'd really like to see Natty hold that title for a while.
See, I think a lot of people would. Me personally, I like Natty. This is kind of awkward to bring up at this time, but there's that old game, Marry, Fuck, Kill. When you're playing it with the women in the WWE, Natalya, she's often the one that I choose as the Mary.
No, I think she deserves it. And if you want to go that route, I think she's a good worker. Honestly, the WWE's women division right now is super lackluster. It worked when it was NXT, when you had like these great matches and Becky and the 4 horsewomen, and right now it's just they're not putting it together well. I don't know. The whole Lana thing I don't understand. Naomi's a good champion, but at the end of the day, I don't think she can run with Charlotte. I think the matches are clunky. I don't like Becky's in-ring work as much as I used to either. So there's just so many things that just are, kind of not jiving for me right now in the women's division.
Well, these girls are going to start picking up their game, trust me. And if they don't, there's 32 other girls knocking at their door right now that are amazing workers in the Mae Young Classic coming up to WWE.
See, I'm excited to see that. I'm glad you mentioned that.
It's going to be fun. I mean, there's a lot of talented girls, from all over the world, from Japan, from Shimmer, from Germany. It's going to be interesting at the very least. And I've seen some footage posted online of some interesting stuff. There's one girl with a sick elbow drop that I want to mark out watching all day long.
Yeah, I've seen some of those videos online of her.
Yeah, I don't know her name yet. I'm gonna find out. Trust me.
She just comes in like super sideways and just heavy. It looks so good.
Dude, Savage would get a boner over the way this girl drops an elbow. Trust me. So how about
Savage boner? Speaking of boners, I mean, you want to talk about Blangle, so why don't we talk about Kurt Angle?
I thought you were gonna make us talk about Rusev. Man, if Rusev, hey, wait a minute, hold on,
dude, I love Rusev.
Hold
that
on.
fucking match was so bad.
Wait a minute,
let's not talk about fucking.
That's amazing.
Kurt and his old
no, hold on.
shit.
I just figured out the greatest
such a
idea.
bad match, and it's so illogical what happens with.
Wait. If Jason Jordan wrestled Rusev, we could sword fight while we watch that match.
Oh God.
No, the American flag. Well, the American flag.
America.
The American flag was involved in that match, as was the Bulgarian, and that match got more heat than it did notice for the actual work that they did in it, because people only talked about the violations of the American flag that were brought up during the match, from John Cena dropping it and tossing it around and not showing it the respect that you're supposed to.
It's like, okay, I get that whole thing, but it's more for me like not logical when you have this podium and you can move it around and Rusev hits it and then puts it back, and I don't know. I just.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna call it an old school
Ruru
flag match, then why not leave it old school and just make it, hey, the first person to get their flag and pull it down is the winner. I don't understand this having to walk it up the entrance ramp and post it on a podium.
Is that the first time they've done that?
That's the first time they've ever done that for a flag match. The traditional way that I know of, and I've only ever seen, is they have the flags on the poles in the two corners, and the first person to get their flag, boom, that's the winner.
Do you think Vince McMahon's losing his fucking mind and he's just like running around changing finishes and fucking, like, no, you're going to put it in a staircase and a podium, and that's how we're gonna do it. Like, screw how they used to do it in the NWA.
I would love to have the guys from South Park, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, do an episode of behind the scenes at WWE, because that's the way you just described it made it sound like.
God.
Just a kid, but for some reason,
like,
Vince
have you ever
McMahon
seen
looks
when
like
they
Canadian,
do,
like where it's got the half head open mouth part? Ha ha ha!
Yeah, but have you ever seen when they do Mel Gibson and he's just like crazy, just running around crazy?
That's Vince McMahon.
I think that's how it is, and like Hunter's just taking it.
Are we talking about from behind or metaphorically?
I'm just saying, dude. I'm just saying, man. It's like, I don't understand. The product's so bad right now, and they have the best talent in the world.
They do have a lot of the best talent in the world. We can't say they have all of the best talent in the world. But you know what?
They got a lot of them.
One thing that I got to bring up before we go on to the Punjabi prison match, and I know this is kind of topic jumping, but Davey Richards, former ROH champion and TNA tag champ, one half of the Wolves, is done with wrestling. He's left GFW. He's left under good terms. He's not going to the WWE. Apparently, for the last several years, about 5 years now, he's been switching time back and forth between professional wrestling and between being an EMT while going to medical school. Now he's in his final 2 years of schooling to become a doctor. and he's decided to take a step back, quit professional wrestling, and focus solely on that. So, hey, you know what? Dude's going to go off and be the baddest fucking doctor of all time. So, there you go, man. Good luck to you, Davey Richards.
Hell yeah.
And now from Davey Richards to the Punjabi fucking prison match. Oh, my God. You know what? This is the third time they've ever done it, and obviously it's kind of stereotyping when they do it, because they only do it when someone like the Great Khali or now Jinder Mahal is involved. And it's a match that I almost think that they put too much into it. With, you know, the double cage, I mean, that's kind of cool. I kind of like that premise. If they did it with a normal steel cage, it might be better. Like, maybe if they put the Hell in the Cell on top of the steel cage. You know what? I take that back. Al Snow did that. Sorry, Al. That match sucked. But it was the dog pound match, dude. They were running around with giant Rottweilers shitting between the cage and the ring. Yeah, the premise of the Punjabi prison match is kind of cool, but then they add stuff in, like the 4 doors and the 60 seconds, and then they're locked. And there's just too much. It's a situation, in my eyes, of less is more sometimes. And the whole time, these guys beat the shit out of each other. And I like Jinder Mahal. I like Randy Orton. These guys put on a pretty decent match, but the crowd was dead silent. And I don't know if they were dead from the poor pay-per-view that they had seen throughout most of the night or what, but they just weren't there for it.
Well, good old JR said it, man. You can't see. You can't see. It's like...
That was a problem. You know, even with the cameras inside.
TV, it's so... distracting, and like you just can't get a good good view. I mean,
I was watching it with my son, and even he said I can't tell if the punches are connecting or not because of the cage.
Yeah, and when they got out of the first structure, then it's a little better, but not great. Horrible. I can't believe you said you like Jinder Mahal, but
I do like
man.
Jinder Mahal. Listen, I look at Jinder Mahal the same way I look at JBL. I never really had a love or a dislike for either one of them before they became champion. They both became champion, and I wasn't... Well, with JBL, I hated it when he first became champion. He was the champion of SmackDown for 10 months, and by the time he was ready to lose the title, and I knew he was going to John Cena, I liked him so much as a heel that I wanted him to stay champion. Jinder Mahal's been champion for about 2 or 3 months now. I never disliked him or anything beforehand, but I like it. It's different. It's new. It gets attention. He's not a bad worker. Is he a main event worker by any caliber? No, but you know what? He's taken a lot of criticism. He's hanging in there, and he's trying to do his best with the situation that he's been put in, and hopefully the dude's just enjoying the ride right now.
Yeah, whatever. At least JBL had a strong finish.
Yeah, I can't even defend Jinder on that one, man. I'd rather see him go stereotypical with like the fucking camel clutch or something.
So that's it, man. That's the pay-per-view. It was, like I said, like we started, said to be one of the worst pay-per-views this year. I would totally agree with it. I think the storylines following it, AJ winning the title back, you know, another 3-way potentially.
It was like watching a 3-hour botchamania.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
Outside of the tag title match, it was kind of downhill for me.
And then I was disappointed because I love what they're doing with the Fashion Police, and we got nothing from them on Tuesday. So what do you do next with the tag team title there, you know?
Me, I would have kept it away from the New Day for a little bit longer, to be honest, even though I love them. I absolutely do love them, and I mean 3 years of them, and I still haven't, gotten enough of them. But I really wish WWE wasn't in a situation where they weren't so flooded with talent that they had to split up and create 2 brands, because I would love to live in a world where the New Day, the Usos, the Revival, the Bullet Club, and all of them were one big tag team division.
Well, who do you think it is attacking Fashion Police, or doing whatever to Fashion Police, killing their horse?
To be honest, I don't know who it is, and it's not going to turn out to be anybody we give a shit about. I mean,
so everybody's saying, at least a lot of the podcasts and people that I listen to are saying that it's going to be Gallows and Anderson.
But see, they're over on Raw right now, so how is that going to be? Are they going to bring those guys over there? Why take another tag
Well, they
team
ain't
away?
over, that's for sure. So they could use a change of scenery.
You skipped Raw on Monday, and on Monday they came out with a face mentality against the Revival, and the crowd was with them. They were kind of over. They lost about 5 to 10 minutes later, but they were over with the crowd.
Jesus. I love the Revival, but...
This is Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman, and I want to urge you to make a generous donation to the Wayne Foundation so we can stop the sexual trafficking of children. Do it, or I'll find you, and I'll really fuck you up.
So we're going to keep this kind of a short episode. We've mainly talked about Raw, SmackDown, and the Battleground pay-per-view. But there was one thing that you might not have heard about I kind of wanted to bring up. That was there was supposedly an incident recently at a bar between Braun Strowman and Karen Jarrett. Did you hear anything about this?
No, I didn't.
So a couple weeks ago when Raw was in Nashville, and we all thought that the Kurt Angle Jason Jordan storyline, which Jason Jordan, a homeboy from Tinley Park, I didn't know that either, but that's kind of off topic right now. Apparently when we all thought that Dixie Carter was going to be the big reveal that Kurt Angle was sleeping with her or something like that, there was a lot
I was sold that was going to be
right.
it, man.
Everybody was kind of like on that one. I don't know. Maybe that was too wishful thinking. Maybe we were all going back to when Eric Bischoff showed up on Raw. But apparently after the show, there was a lot of GFW guys in town, and Karen Jarrett in the bar approached Braun Strowman about getting an autograph for her son, and I guess Strowman didn't realize who it was and kind of blew her off and maybe even cussed at her or said something inappropriate. So Karen Jarrett says to him, this is Kurt Angle's biological son. No, legit. Everybody that night was claiming to be Kurt Angle's son, apparently. But that was actually Kurt Angle's son she was trying to get the autograph for, and threatened to tell her husband, aka her ex-husband, aka Kurt Angle, about the incident. At which time I guess Strowman was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, shit, fuck," and he kind of got very apologetic and allegedly got on his knees and begged her not to tell Angle. I call bullshit on that part, but I could see him being like, "Oh crap, I didn't know who you were. My bad."
That's awesome. He seems like a good dude. I mean, he seems like a decent dude. I'm sure, like you get it all the time. You're out in a bar, you're like, don't want to be messed with, but yeah, that's funny. He seems like a guy that wouldn't be a total dick, but he's a big dude. Even on his knees, he's probably as big as she is. So.
Here's my thing. He seems like a big, fun-loving country boy. I've never heard anybody say a bad word about him. Honestly, in my opinion, a woman like Karen Jarrett probably blew the story up to be more than it actually was. And Strowman was probably tired or trying to eat or something and was just like, "Yo, give me some time," or something, Because, I mean, I've been there where I'm trying to eat or something and somebody comes up to me and wants to talk or take pictures or this or that. And you just kind of want to be like, "Hey, I'm living my life right now. Give me a couple minutes and I'll come hit you up, when I'm done."
So, good way to end the show. One last topic that you made me think of talking about Braun Strowman and Karen Jarrett. Let's talk about smacking talk and the fact that
talking
Bryan
smack?
Danielson or Daniel Bryan.
All right, let's
is
hold on, stop. You said smacking talk and Bryan Danielson, so let's start that transition over again.
No, let's keep that. No, that's good. That was right. I mean, that's his name, right? Bryan Danielson. That's what he used to wrestle under, right?
No, legit. I know we want to try and keep as much in there as possible, but let's try to start that one over.
But that's what they did. You saw that him and Renee, right? They filmed like a little vignette, and they called it Smacking Talk because Talking Smack is canceled.
Oh, shit.
And then they had Chad Gable on.
I didn't know
Yeah,
about
dude.
that.
And then they had Chad Gable on. See, you thinking I'm fucking up, man. We're keeping all this.
Dude, I was just trying to save you because it's late night and I thought you were tired and saying shit wrong. My bad, man. I didn't even see this. Continue, sir.
Then they had Chad Gable on, and he is actually Daniel Bryan's son.
Daniel Bryan's son. You know what? It's 11:57 p.m. I did about 5 miles today in the woods. I did about 2 and 3 hours at the gym, the pool. I really thought that you were just kind of like, and I didn't know about this. I apologize completely.
So you didn't hear any of this?
No, I didn't hear any of this, but it sounds amazing.
Oh, dude, you got to go out and watch it. All our fans got to go out and watch it. I mean, definitely funny and just throwing heat on the whole on the whole Jason Jordan, Kurt Angle storyline. So, all right, dude, it's late. We'll end it with that. Don't forget to check us out at all your favorite podcatchers. Download us from iTunes. Hit subscribe. Check out our YouTube page. Hit subscribe. Send your feedback. We appreciate everybody listening. Our next episode is going to have the man Al Snow on.
And we're going to talk about his brand new collar and elbow wrestling brand, which also, if you go to collarandelbowbrand.com, you can help not only support Al Snow, but this podcast itself by using the code Heat Machine to get 10% off at the checkout time. And that money will come back to us.
Yeah, check it out, man. I love the support your local wrestler tee with the boots. It's cool stuff. So
I love the collar and elbow shirt that looks like the
man.
Chicago
He's a hardworking
flag.
dude. He's got a lot of...
I feel bad because I talked over you.
Yeah, I got scared. All right, that's it. Fucking Bumsy and the Moochers. Take us out. Fucking Baconators.